with the Russells. This is our first YouTube video that we have posted, and I'd like to share with you what our recent trip. We went to Niagara Falls, Canada. Yay! The reason I wanted to make a YouTube video was I had a really hard time finding decent travel tips, whether it was something I was reading or looking at. So I wanted to just make something to help families or future people, or just you're going by yourself and you're just kind of curious about some of the stuff to do up in Niagara. What we did, we flew from Washington, D.C., where we live, to Buffalo. And Buffalo was it's a small airport, very well convenient. We rented a car, and it's about less than an hour's drive to the border of Canada. Prior to doing that, we stopped at a Wegmans and stocked up on some chips and snacks and water bottles and things like that. And I would recommend doing that if you have a car, because up there, I never found any place to get quick snacks and aside from a convenience store, but I still didn't find a whole lot what I was looking for, like cereal bars and things. So I recommend doing that, especially with people traveling with kids, always hungry. So it's great just to have some stuff to put in a backpack while you're seeing all the sights and you don't really have to stop and try to find some place to eat. Going through customs in the car was not a big deal. We had to wait maybe close to an hour. There is a website that I'm going to post on the link below, and it gives you real time the times that the traffic's heavy and how long the waits are between back and forth on all the different bridges there that go into Niagara Falls. Once we got into customs, we had to show them our passports. We all three have our own passports, so we were set. Now, if you have kids under 18, you don't have to have a U.S. passport, but you do have to have an original birth certificate document, and they will ask to see all of that. So just make sure you have the adults over 18, everybody has a passport and a proper identification, and you do need some Canadian money to pay the toll to cross. It's best to get your Canadian dollars. In the U.S., whether you do it at the airport or at your local bank, do that ahead of time. It's good to have that, because not everywhere that we found out would not take cash, or their debit machine wasn't working. So it's good to have Canadian dollars, because you do need to tip the maids, to have parking, and it's just good to carry some cash. You don't need to carry a lot, but just enough to kind of cover you. The hotels are all conveniently located. You see them right literally, like, it was like 5 minutes, less than that, from right where we crossed over the border. And we stayed at a DoubleTree hotel, and it was a very nice hotel, very nicely located. It wasn't right on the main drag, but just enough that it was close enough to what we needed to see, without having to be like a noisy affair. What we did right when we got there was we got what they call the WeGo Pass, and I'm going to post the link to that, and you can look at the prices and decide what kind of WeGo Pass you want to get. We had a 2-day WeGo Pass, and the WeGo is the local bus there, and it goes from different points to all the sites, the hotels. It goes all around Niagara. Very easy to use. Parking, you're going to find, if you're going to drive to all these things, can be kind of a nightmare. So I suggest taking the WeGo bus. You don't have to worry about parking or parking lots, or being tired, or kids cranky from walking back and forth down to Niagara Falls to back and forth to the hotel, because the bus takes you literally everywhere. So one of the first things that we did on the day that we got there is we went to the Skylon Tower. And that looks really, when you look at it, you're thinking that looks kind of cheesy, and it's probably kind of a ripoff. And it kind of is a little bit. We went there and we got in a giant elevator with maybe like 40 people. So if you're claustrophobic, you might want to think about it. But the nice thing about that is it takes you all the way up, and it's the highest point, aside from flying in a helicopter around Niagara, that you can see all of Niagara Falls, Canada, Horseshoe Falls. You can walk to see the American side from one point of it, and you do walk the entire circle of the tower. And you can take as long as you want and take pictures. And it is very crowded, but you do see everything, and you can see all the sights. So it's worth it, and you could go rain or shine there. And they have shops and restaurants and There's restrooms and things like that. So it's a very touristy, but it was worth seeing. I would suggest seeing it, but you know, if you just want to be able to see everything from an vantage point, it's definitely worth seeing. After we did the Skylon Tower, we were hungry, and there are different types of restaurants, from steakhouses to pizza places, and there's like a Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville kind of restaurant. There's different types of places for families or people traveling, couples, or different types of appetites, different types of cuisine. We opted for a Applebee's. We were thinking, it'll be a quick, food that we're kind of familiar with, but it ended up being kind of on the pricey side, and the service was rather slow, and the food wasn't all that great. So I would probably pass on that and venture into, Clifton Hall, where the amusement park is. There's lots of hot dog places, soft pretzels, pizza, or if you want a healthier choice, there's also different kinds of restaurants, ethnic food, food from Indian food, which we really like, but so we were kind of limited to eating more American style food. But there are lots of choices and different palates for different appetites. Get familiar with Tim Horton. If you're from New England or New York State, you already know what Tim Horton is. It's really great. You can obviously get coffee, donuts, but they have bagels, they have chicken tenders, salads, all kinds of mini breakfast items, and there are some lunch items as well. So that was a real lifesaver, to get something quick. There was a choice. We could get salads, my son could get chicken tenders, and we could get stuff to go. And they have a drive-through, or you could walk, and you could park, and you can eat it there. Almost suggest getting it to go, because it gets very crowded, the ones that we went to in Niagara Falls, and people sort of take up the few chairs that are there. So kind of keep that kind of stuff in mind. Like I said, if you can put as many snacks in your backpack that you can just eat along the way, that way you don't have to stop and buy food or water, makes it a lot easier. With the WeGo Pass, the next day we ventured into the Whitewater Walk. A couple of people said they were a little disappointed with it. I rather enjoyed it. I was a little sad that I thought it was going to be a little bit of a longer walk, but you go down an elevator and you basically kind of go out on this boardwalk, and it puts you at eye level with the falls, with the river there. So you see it going really fast, and you can hear and see all the nature. Really beautiful. If it's raining that day, or if the weather is inclement, I don't know if that's maybe the best place, but if you prepare and wear a coat, check the weather, you'll be totally set. It's not a huge long walk, so you're not really committed to having to walk 2 miles or anything like that. But it's a nice boardwalk, so it does have stairs. It's not fully handicap accessible, unfortunately, but it was a nice boardwalk, so we didn't have to contend with walking on a trail or anything. But was really worthwhile, we thought. After that, we had booked well before we went on the trip, which I would recommend, is the Hornblower Cruise. If you've been to Niagara in the past, you're familiar with the Maid of the Mist tour. The Maid of the Mist is on the New York side. We did the Hornblower Cruise, which is on the Canadian side, or Voyage to the Falls. Really worthwhile. It's definitely the iconic Niagara Falls thing you have to do. And you can go on the website, and they have different packages where you can do Whitewater Walk, the Hornblower Cruise, the aerial car tour. There's a zip line tour. They have different things that you could do, and they have the Behind the Falls tour. We did not do the Behind the Falls tour. We just kind of ran out of time. But there's a whole lot of different things you could do. So we just opted to do the Hornblower Cruise and pay that ahead of time. And what that was really nice, because we had on our ticket to go on a Tuesday. The nice thing with that was it didn't have a time, so we didn't have to go there at like 9 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon. It allowed us to go when we felt like it. And the line moves really fast. It really wasn't that big of a deal. And I thought, I'm gonna need raincoats. We had all these heavy raincoats. Really didn't need it. It was a waste of time. So unless it's already raining outside, leave the raincoat behind. They give you, as part of your ticket, a plastic poncho, and if you put it over, it will cover all your backpack, camera gear, everything. You don't need to worry about anything, and don't worry about don't dress up for it. You will get wet, your hair will be crazy looking. Just wear comfy shoes because the boat is kind of slippery, so don't wear anything with a slick bottom on it. Water shoes are great. I had sneakers on, that kind of thing. That's perfect. But you show them your pass. If you get it ahead of time, it does give you the time. You can skip the line of buying the ticket, so that keeps things moving. You can have it on your phone and they can scan it. So that was great. And there's restrooms, there's a bar down there, there's a restaurant. So when you're done with that, if you have kids people are hungry or you're hungry, lots of options around there. And it's just really beautiful because you can walk up and down the whole area there where the falls are, and there's tables, there's chairs, there's benches, plenty of things to do and people to see, and obviously the falls, and it's breathtaking. Another thing that's really neat about Niagara Falls during certain times of the year, from I think it was May till October, is they have fireworks, and they're exactly 5-minute fireworks. Aside from Canada Day on July 1st, that one probably is a little bit more of a production. But that is really cool because you can go down there, and right at 10 o'clock they start. And they have all the falls lit up like a rainbow style. All the lights are on, kind of looks like a rainbow. It's beautiful. And they have everything set up. You could take the WeGo bus because it's super crowded. People are all down there looking at it. And there's vending, foods, and obviously Clifton Halls, the amusement park area is right there. So it adds to kind of a nice atmosphere of seeing everything. Another thing we did was the Butterfly Conservatory. That was part of the Niagara Falls official tour. They have a lot of these signs, sort of like national park kind of thing, if you will. And that was beautiful. We went there and the gardens were gorgeous. You go in there and you can pay that ahead of time if you like, but we weren't sure if we were going to do it, so we did it on the spot. And you do a nice walk inside. You can see beautiful butterflies and take pictures. And then outside there's all the English gardens, and there is a little bit of a cafe there. We didn't eat there, but there is food on site and vending machines. And more importantly, what I liked was a water bottle filling machine. So if you have water bottles, you can fill them up and you don't have to buy water. And again, the WeGo bus goes there as well. Another thing that a lot of people like to do up in Niagara Falls is go to the wineries. We had our son with us, so that wasn't something we were able to do, but beautiful walking paths, bike paths, if you like to cycle, tons of bike paths, and they take you to all the different wineries. The WeGo bus takes you there. Look at the schedule and the time on that, because obviously you do not want to be drinking a lot of wine and driving back to your hotel. So make accommodations to take the WeGo bus or a taxi. Do not drink and drive. Going into Old Niagara Falls is really worthwhile to get away from the strip scene, the campy commercial. It's beautiful. It's old Victorian houses, lace shops, Irish tea, all that kind of stuff. And there's also some very elegant bed and breakfasts. So that's a nice option for folks that maybe want to get away from families and noise and the casino atmosphere and do something more on that kind of nature. We did that. We drove around there, kind of toured a lot of that. While you're in Niagara, if you get, like I said, if you get tired of the strip scene and the gambling and all the amusement park stuff, aside from the old Niagara Falls area, there's Lake Erie, which is just past Old Niagara Falls. The town area, and it's a beautiful drive, beautiful homes, and you can see Lake Erie, and on a good day you can completely see across to Toronto. So that was a neat thing. My son is really into geography, and so he was trying to see how many lakes he could see. So the next day we drove about an hour to Lake Erie, and there's a park there where you can walk around and bike trails. And that was really worth it too as well. But one thing I really liked about Niagara Falls area was all the walking accessibility and biking trails and bike paths and hiking. So if you like to do a lot of outdoor stuff and hiking, it definitely is the place to do it. There's lots of sites where you could pull off if you have a car. You can drive and look at different vantage points of the area of the falls. If you're into history, there's Fort George and Fort Erie, where there were wars that were fought there. And we kind of stopped and kind of looked around. We didn't actually pay to go in, but it looks like it would probably have been a really neat thing to do. But like I said, when you get away from that main drag area, if you have a car, you can see a lot of that kind of stuff, and there's lots of trails you could park. We did do a couple hikes where we parked our car in a parking lot area and did a few little small nature trail hikes, because the weather up there in the summer is just gorgeous. There's no humidity, and it's not terribly, it's warm, but it's not like where we are. It's really hot. So take advantage of getting out of the area where all the main stuff is, and if you do have a car, trying to get out and look at some of that. So a lot of really beautiful countryside areas there, in different places where you can stop and get a small bite to eat or whatnot. So there's definitely a variety of things to do if you're not into the casinos and maybe some of the kids stuff. If you were like the wine and bicycling and things like that, Niagara has a lot of great things to do. But we had a really great time, and we felt like we did a lot. We packed in a lot in 3 days, and we still didn't do everything. So there's quite a bit to do, and if you can book a lot of stuff in advance and get your tickets, it does make at times, it does save the time of having to go and get in line and to buy everything, and then you kind of can budget out what you want to see and what you don't want to see and do. So I hope this was information was good for you and it was helpful. If you have any other things you want to add, please click onto my link if you'd like to subscribe. We would love to have you, and we look forward to making some more videos. Bye.